Cuban Missile Crisis is getting launched in the fucking PFL. Like, if he loses this fight. Alright, guys. First fight of the night.
We got a Puja Oak women's. Alright, we're going to move on. Second fight of the night. But first fight of the card, we got Cody Stamann versus Taylor Lapilus. I'm going Cody Stamann here. We picked against Taylor Lapilus, and he lost, and we won. So we're gonna do it again. Cody Stamann isn't even all that bad, guys. Like, he can beat this guy.
Guys, I know Cody Stamann is an underdog, so proceed with a little bit of caution. If you're gonna put him in a parlay, put him in like something that's riskier. But I just feel like, guys, Taylor Lapilus doesn't really have a reason to be the favorite here. He beat that Callum Lundgren, the guy who looks like the fucking Mad Emotion from that Inside Out Disney movie. Like, you do not deserve to be some sort of favorite just because you beat that guy by decision. Like, Taylor Lapilus looks like the knockoff Last Airbender or some shit with that stupid tattooed hairline he has.
If he was from France and the pussy, that's
he's from France. We still have to make the video about those guys over there in Paris, but guys, we're going Cody Stamann in this first fight.
All right, moving on, we got Daniel Marcos versus John Castaneda. This should be a pretty good fight. John Castaneda isn't even like all that bad. I just fuck with Daniel Marcos.
Guys, I like Daniel Marcos too. I had him in his last fight against Alta Lang, or whatever that Asian guy's name was. He was like really beating the fuck out of that guy before. I can't remember if that was no, he got kicked in the nuts and couldn't continue. And I'm not saying I'm on him for that. Like, you get kicked in the cock, it's gonna suck to fight somebody fist fight. If you couldn't continue, you couldn't continue, it's fine. But I'm just saying, Daniel Marcos, he was definitely winning that fight. And John Castaneda, like, I don't know. If he beats Daniel Marcos, I'll be sold on him. I don't want to discredit John Castaneda because, like we said, he's really not that bad. If he wins this fight, I'll definitely fuck with him more. But as of right now, I just don't really know that he's done enough for me to be confident in picking him in this fight.
Yeah, but next up we got Brad Katona versus Jesse Butler.
It kind of sucks to say this, but I think I'm going Brad Katona.
Yeah, I mean,
Brad Katona, in my opinion, is like the Grant Dawson of this card. They suck to watch. You don't really fuck with them all that much. But you know, against the bottom tier of the division, they can definitely grapple and wrestle with them and hold them down. And I feel like this is exactly what Brad Katona is going to do in this fight.
Yeah, the UFC definitely set this up, wanting Brad Katona to win this fight, and I think he definitely will.
Guys, like Brad Katona won the Ultimate Fighter on the McGregor and Chandler season. The UFC is trying their best to add relevancy to that show by saying someone won the Ultimate Fighter, they can be a UFC fighter. If Brad Katona, not even a champion, like if Brad Katona is going in the Ultimate Fighter and winning the season, but going on and is going 1-2 in the UFC after becoming the Ultimate Fighter, like
what's the point of watching it?
What interest would anybody have? We're gonna see some guy built up throughout a season of a TV show who ends up being below average in the UFC.
They just end up sucking.
So guys, I really do believe in Brad Katona in this fight. I definitely think he can take Jesse Waters to places in the fight where Jesse Butler's not going to be able to defend. And yeah,
Jesse Butler's coming off a KO loss to Jim Miller. I'll just leave that there for you. I'm going Brad Katona. And then up next we've got Charles Radke versus Carlos Prates. Guys, I'm kind of split on this fight. I'm not gonna lie. I think on paper Carlos Prates should win this fight. I think he's got better wins than Charles Radke, and he's knocking out basically everybody. But last time I thought Charles Radke was going to lose a fight. He won it, and I fought with, like, his post-fight interviews and his mentality going into these fights. And I think he's going to he might be able to outdog Carlos Prates in this fight.
Guys, I think the majority of people are going to go Carlos Prates. I think I got to go Chuck Buff in this fight because in his fight with Blood Diamond, you know, he wasn't showing that he was, like, really that good. But he, like he said, he really did surprise me in that fight with Gilbert Urbina. He showed that he does have the ability to put pressure on people, and he has power to knock people out. And while Prates, yes, I'm not saying Prates can't win this fight. I'm just saying, based on the fact there was like a round of that fight where Trevin Giles was like low-key winning, I just feel like if Carlos Prates is put on the back foot and has the pressure put on him, it's going to be more difficult for him to win this fight. So I'm definitely going to have to go with Chuck Buff. He's an entertaining personality in the UFC. I would put him with, like, you know, Nate the Train, or something like that. Like, you know, they're not super great fighters, but they have enough of a personality to where it makes you want to watch them because they're entertaining on the microphone when they get a win. And I definitely don't think he's terrible, so I'm definitely going to go Charles Radke here.
All right. We've got the last fight of the prelims. We have Thiago Moises versus Ludovic Klein. I'm taking Ludovic Klein in this one. I've never really thought that Thiago Moises was really impressive at all or really good at all, but Ludovic Klein is on a nice streak. He's got some good wins, and he's definitely a better fighter than Moises everywhere, I feel like. And hopefully we see Ludovic Klein knock out Thiago Moises in this fight. I think that's a real possibility, to be honest.
Guys, I think that Ludovic Klein honestly has some of the most ridiculously good takedown defense of anybody I've ever seen. I can't remember what fight it was, but 2 years ago he was fighting some guy who went to take him down in the center of the octagon, and he like was lifted, or he was like sort of lifted up, but somehow like got his leg free and planted it on the ground and like defended the takedown. Like,
I think I remember that.
Yeah, I was like 2 years ago. I can't remember who it was, but he does have pretty good takedown defense. And I think Thiago Moises is not a bad fighter. He's just not a super great fighter. Yeah. And Ludovic Klein, like, I just think that this is going to be a fight that he's looking to make a statement on and, you know, try to break into the top 15.
Oh, and that's good odds for Ludovic Klein. I mean, minus 135, I feel like he should be a bigger favorite than that. So that's definitely a parlay piece. Uh-oh. All right, next up we've got Soriano versus Miguel Baiza. Oh my God. When you open up the Tapology page, all you just see is like a flashbang of red losses on both
like
these guys.
Somebody kicked your ass in Connect 4.
Oh my God, dude.
It's just all red circles after one another.
Literally so, like, I'm not picking Soriano in this fight. Soriano sucks.
He sucks dick,
yeah.
bro.
Oh my God.
Who was his last fight?
He got submitted by Dustin Stolfus.
Oh my fucking goodness.
I remember that now.
Bro, I remember because whenever it was Sarukian and Dariush, we did like a bunch of parlays.
Yeah,
we had each fighter in probably like 3 parlays. Like we had 10 parlays each. Like we went fucking crazy. And Punali Soriano like cost us 3 of those because he got submitted by Dustin fucking Stoltzfus.
Who were about to get
Guys,
on
I don't care if Soriano was fighting somebody with 1 leg. I would still pick the person with 1 leg because of how much I don't fuck with Soriano.
Oh my God, hold on.
For cashing those.
Dude. Alright, but
dude, I don't care.
Basic got KO'd by Andre Fiallo 2 years ago. That was his last fight, and then before that he got KO'd by Chaos Williams, and then before that he lost a decision to Ponzinibbio.
I still think that all of those, I would rather lose to anybody on that list than Dustin Stoltzfus,
I agree.
bro. Even Andre
agree.
Fiallo, I feel like does not suck as much as Dustin Stoltzfus.
I'm not picking Soriano.
You've got Baeza.
All right. Okay, we've got Julian Marquez versus Zach Reese.
Guys, I'm going Zach Reese.
Are you kidding me with the Julian Marquez?
With the Cuban Missile Crisis. Guys,
This guy
that's his nickname. Zach Reese, he was definitely doing well. Like, I know this goes against all logic we've ever used in predicting a fight because of the fact he did get knocked out by Cody Brundage, but he did show that he has some sort of jiu-jitsu ability or a way to win a fight over the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis, the only time I've seen him win a fight in the last couple years is by Sam Alvey. Guys, do I need to even say anything?
Smiling Sam Alvey.
Your last win is knocking out a guy who was on a fucking 8-fight losing streak. I'm not picking you again.
The odds, they have Julian Marquez as minus 115.
Yeah, he's the favorite, guys.
That's crazy.
Zach Reese is probably going to submit Julian Marquez.
Oh, are you kidding me? Zach Reese is a prospect coming up.
He's lost once.
The Cuban Missile Crisis is the direct opposite of a prospect. The
Cuban Missile Crisis is getting launched in the fucking PFL. Like, if he loses this fight, into the fucking PFL. Guys, if Zach Reese submits him here, he's done. I'm going Zach Reese. I think a prospect versus a guy who hasn't proven himself in the UFC and he's been there 5 years. I'm going with the prospect.
Next fight on the card, we've got Bruno Ferreira versus Dustin Stoltzfus. This is the lock of the card, boys. Bruno Ferreira is gonna knock out Dustin Stoltzfus. Bruno Ferreira has crazy knockout power. Like, this guy's raw and he's belt that shit for real. And Dustin Stoltzfus looks like he should be driving like a school bus or some Karate Kid van or some shit. Like, they want this guy to get brutally KO'd in this fight.
Guys, one of the things you have to consider with this fight is what do you consider getting knocked out by worse? Would you consider getting knocked out by Nassourdine Rozaboyev or getting knocked out by Abus Magomedov worse? I think in terms of how their performance went after that fight, I would much rather have on my record I got knocked out by Rozaboyev than Magomedov, and being Magomedov's only knockout win in the UFC. Guys, I know Ferreira got knocked out. I'm pretty sure that was just a bad situation because it wasn't even like his chin sucked. He got caught midair, got punched, and hit his head on the thing.
Yeah. I
definitely don't think that he has a bad chin or that Dustin Stoltzfus will be able to test this type of chin. I'm definitely giving out Bruno Ferreira as a lock of the week.
Yeah. All right. On to the next fight. We got Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Turcios. I see everybody on here is picking Raul Rosas Jr. and I know this fight was scheduled like months ago, and we picked Ricky Turcios, and I'm not changing my pick. I just think Raul Rosas Jr. is a little like wishy-washy. Like, I don't really know what he's on for pulling out of these fights. Like, pulling out of the fight like 2 days out.
Losing to Christian Rodriguez, guys. I'm going with Ricky Turcios too. It's kind of like what we said about Brad Katona. I know that these guys were winners of seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. And guys, like, at the end of the day, Raul Rojas Jr. has done very good for a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, 17-year-old kid. Like, he's done very good. You know, he's gotten finishes inside of the UFC, which is more than we or anybody watching this video can say. When he was younger than a lot of us, he was getting wins inside the UFC. So I don't want, it to be mistaken that talking shit about him or don't respect him or anything. I don't really fuck with him. but I will definitely say, you know, props to him. He's fighting in the UFC at a very young age, and I do think he can turn into a good fighter. But against Ricky Turcios, I just feel like Ricky Turcios has a little bit too much experience for Rojas in this. Rojas lost to Christian Rodriguez, which I think is kind of like, you know, you knocked out the black guy who fought in Alaska that no one's ever heard of, and you submitted the guy who's no longer even in the UFC right now. Christian Rodriguez is, I think, the only out of the three of them who's still in the UFC, and you lost to him by decision. I'm definitely going to have to go with Ricky Turcios here as an underdog this week. I just think that he has a lot more experience and a lot more ability in this fight, and that Ricky Turcios just is still a bit too young for me to be picking him against these step-up in competitions.
Yeah. Moving on to the co-main, we have Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. I'm going Dustin Jacoby, guys. Dominic Reyes is on a 4-fight losing streak. He has completely lost his chin, and he will go down to anybody at this point. So I'm picking Dustin Jacoby. I know he just lost to Alonzo Menifield, but like, he showed that he has that dog in him that Dominic Reyes does not have at all at this point in his career.
Guys, it's just, you know, kind of sad. Like, I say moment in silence for Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
Like, he had a very good fight against John Jones. And, you know, he got robbed of that decision.
He won that fight.
It's 4 years ago, so I don't want to harp on that too much. We all know that was a bullshit robbery.
Yeah.
But it's like, guys, he really would have been one of the most raw people in UFC history for dethroning John Jones. But instead, he got robbed by John Jones and then has gotten knocked out by 3 guys in a row. One of those being Ryan Spann. Guys, I really hate to say it, but I just don't see Dominic Reyes winning another fight in the UFC. I think, guys, like, Dominic Reyes is just way too rogue to not only bet on but believe in. Like, we don't know what the hell his chin is on these days. He's getting knocked out by everybody.
Like,
so
all you gotta do is just touch him and he's done. Like,
he got knocked out by Ryan Spann's jab. So, guys, next fucking fight.
Main event. Cannonier, Imavov. I honestly, betting on this fight might be a little risky. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with Cannonier because of experience and power. And I think that he can avoid any of Imavov's, like, if he tries to pull off some grappling. Like, I feel like Jared Cannonier is strong enough and powerful enough to avoid that. And on the feet, I have him outstriking Imavov in this fight.
And guys, I'm going to have to fade him this week. I'm personally going with Imavov. I don't think that Cannonier is that bad of a fighter, but I also just don't really believe in him enough to be picking him in a fight. Like, I still don't really think he beat Sean Strickland. Before that, he lost to Adesanya. I think Imavov, honestly, I know he lost to Sean Strickland on short notice, but I just feel like he is more of a well-rounded fighter up until this point. Like, I know it was extremely sloppy against Roman Dolidze, but he did show that he can be in a really sloppy fight and still not get knocked out, not get submitted, can still land enough takedowns and still get enough strikes on someone to win the fight. And I know Roman Dolidze is a lot easier to strike on than Jared Cannonier. And I'm not saying that Cannonier can't win this fight, but I say I'd be any happier if he won this fight than if he lost. No, because I don't see him getting the title. Like, to be honest, no disrespect to him, but he just hasn't really put on an exciting fight in a few years now. You know, I just don't really care to see him in these big matchups anymore.
I agree, and I just realized that he's fucking 40, which I thought, honestly, he was like 37, 36. I did not realize he was that old, but I'm not gonna change my pick. I think that, like, even though he's 40, he hasn't really shown any signs of being like your typical 40-year-old fighter in the octagon. So I'm taking Jared Cannonier still, but we're gonna have to see, boys. Another one where we fade each other. We went even on the last card. I picked Holland, and I picked Costa. He picked Strickland, and he picked Olajichuk. So we're even, and now we're about to have a tiebreaker.
And guys, you know, you should see that this is like authentic when we are giving you what we think. Like, we're not just saying, oh, we're both not giving the same fights every time. We're both giving differing opinions and reasons and shit like that, and we can keep the track record and stuff like that. Like
99% of the time, we have the same outlook on the fight, but there's certain fights that we just somehow just come to different
conclusions
reasonings about
but
shit.
So that should just show you, if we're both using similar reasoning to justify fights, like, you know, it's the same shit when we're using reasoning to justify while we're picking against each other. We're giving our opinion, you know, completely authentically each time, and we happen to be thinking the same thing sometimes. But guys, this weekend probably not gonna do the live reactions.
We gotta chill on that.
I think we gotta go a couple weeks with just doing the after the card breakdown. And for the McGregor card, you know, we'll probably get a little bit crazier with the videos, but you know, like we said at the beginning, we are trying to make this an MMA channel. Want you guys to enjoy watching it, and you know, we just need to be tame most of the time. We can't be crazy every single fucking time.
Yeah, but that's it, y'all. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for showing the support. The last video is doing pretty good on the live reaction, so thank you all for the comments and stuff, but we'll see you in the next one.
GC MMA out.